Welcome, young lady, I say, because by special reasons you don't want to tell your name, and I fully understand this attitude, and that's why you're wearing sunglasses as well. But that doesn't diminish your testimony in connection with mind control, targeted individual. And it would be interesting for us to hear a little bit about your educational background.
Yeah, my background is computer science. I studied computer science in my undergraduate, and then I studied computer science as well in my master's studies as well, and that was in Canada. And I studied my master's for 4 years there, and now I'm studying something else, but my background is mainly computer science.
Mm-hmm. And what part of computer science, or do you have a specialty?
I studied, in my master's study, I studied, my specialization was biometrics. And that is the study about the identifying human with their biometric data, biodata.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. It's very modern. Would you like to tell us in which countries you studied, or better not?
Which country?
Yeah.
I studied my master's study in Canada.
Oh, very good. Yes. And just now you are living in a town here in Sweden. We must not say which town. And you are still at the university?
Yes, I'm a student in
Yes.
one of the towns in Sweden.
Yes, and what theme now?
I'm studying sustainable development,
Mm-hmm.
which is sort of very much related related to what has happened to me. Like when I encountered this thing, I thought that this is something that shouldn't happen to human because it's too inhuman. And if this kind of things spread, then it's simply the advent of dystopia. So,
perhaps you start to tell us what occurred to you, how it started, or how you detected it. That we know what you are talking about.
Yes, when I was in Canada, I encountered this situation that I hear some voice, maybe from my brain, or maybe, but at the same time I heard the voice from outside. And in my room, and when I went out, this voice followed me, and when I was walking along the street, then this voice was following me and trying to make a conversation with me. And sometimes it was loud, and sometimes it was very small. It was like a whisper, but mainly it was like a whisper, so that I could only hear when I listened very carefully.
And that there was no human around you connected to that voice? That you could see? There was not somebody standing beside you or behind you who talked to you?
Actually, there was always, I mean, not always. When there are people, then there are people. And when I go to some place I cannot see people, then there were no people. So it...
But the voice was there anyhow, even if there were no people.
Yeah, like even in my room, there was no people. I could hear this voice in my room, and there was definitely no people. I lived in a studio, and that was very small, and I could hear this voice, and that was out of nowhere.
Okay.
Yeah, it felt like that is heard. I could hear the voice from my brain many times. Yeah, it felt like I hear this voice from my brain, so it was very close that they got into some sort of schizophrenic I got schizophrenic or something. It was very confusing. That the symptom that I had was sort of like schizophrenic. So it was
but
like
you never had been schizophrenic before?
Not at all. I'm a very healthy person, and I don't have any kind of that disease in my family.
Mm-hmm. And was it a female or a male voice?
That was male's voice.
Okay, in what language?
That was first he started in English, and then it changed into Korean.
Is that your mother tongue?
Yes, that is my mother tongue.
Okay. It was the same voice, only changing the language, or was it another voice in the other language?
I think it's very difficult because this voice, the color of this voice is sort of hard to identify because it's just when it was loud, it was guy's voice, like a loudly speaking guy's voice. But when it is very small, then it's just whispering. So I couldn't identify if this is guy's voice or a woman's voice.
Okay, yes. But principally it was the same voice pattern, independent whether it was in Korean or English.
Well, when it was heard in English, it was, I mean, that was when I had a headache. I mean, no, that was not necessarily a headache. I heard some voice, because when I was moving my neck, I heard some voice, so I thought that maybe something is wrong with my neck or my brain, my head. So I was like I was moving hard, my neck. I shaked my neck very hard, and I could hear this voice like easy in English, and that voice was that voice was guy's voice, and that was the voice that I hear in English, but after that, all the voice was in Korean.
Could the voice have been artificial?
Was the voice artificial?
Yes. Could it have been created as an artificial interaction with your mind?
So it's very difficult if it is artificial or if it is human.
What was your feeling, your hunch?
My hunch is it was a human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How many years ago that started?
That started in year 2006.
Oh, already?
Yeah.
And did you talk to other people about it?
Yes, but I only talked with the psychologist person. Like I had some counseling in this university in Canada, and I always had counseling with the same person. So she was like, she knows what I told what is happening to her. Like before this was happening, I sort of had some rapport with her because I had counseling with her all the time. And then
You counseled her because you wanted to get rid of those voices and you wanted to get an explanation.
No, before this was happening, I had the counseling because I was stressed out because I had a very bad relationship with my supervisor.
And you had been to this woman before the voices?
Exactly.
Okay, that's interesting. Was it a psychiatrist or what was she specialized on? This woman, was she a doctor? Or?
She was close to psychiatrist, but she's not necessarily a psychiatrist. She's there just for the counseling. So I don't know what her...
At the university compound?
Yes.
Okay. So you have not been to a hospital?
there was some hospital facility in the university.
Okay.
But that's not necessarily hospital, because that's for every student in the university. So I've been to the university. That hospital facility. I used that hospital facility, which is open for everyone and everyone in the university and outside the university as well.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily like a hospital building, big hospital building.
Yeah,
but I went to other hospitals. Like
wait, one question first. When did you start to go to that woman? When was that the first time? You can recall that? When you visited her the first time?
That was a long time ago before this has happened.
Several years?
No, maybe a year ago.
A year before?
Yeah.
And then after the 1 year roundabout you had been to her, the voices came?
Yes.
And then you went to her again?
Yeah.
Because of the voices?
Yes.
And what did she say?
So she introduced me to a psychiatrist. Yeah.
Not being at the compound, but some other place?
But she's connected with this, with the university.
Okay.
Like
would you like to name the name of the university?
Yes, I think it's important.
Doctor?
Yes, I think it's important.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, that was the University of Calgary.
Okay.
In the city of Calgary in Canada.
Yeah.
And
you have problem to name the names of the doctors?
The counselor, I remember the name of the counselor. Do you think?
Yeah, because I think that could be the reason why you hear the voices. That is a classical case. That it starts with a visit in those circles with psychiatrists, and then they say, oh, this is a good victim, we can make research on her, and then you suddenly get the voices, and therefore it could be interesting to pinpoint the names.
Yeah.
There could be other victims from the same source.
Yes.
If you dare to say it, it's up to you.
Yeah, I'd like to. I remember her name, the counselor's name. Her name is Annalisa. And Chikuchi or something, maybe she's from Italy, or her parents are from Italy or something. But her name is certainly Annalisa.
Okay.
And she works for the university, and she's from Alberta.
And then she put you in contact with 2 real psychiatrists?
One real psychiatrist.
One real, okay. That name you can't recall?
No, I cannot.
But you have papers on it, perhaps?
I have papers in there. Some record.
From the visit, you perhaps collected some papers.
But no, I don't keep it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it is important to mention that I took the pill that the psychiatrist prescribed for me.
What kind of pill was that?
That was a Risperdal.
Ah, Risperdal. Okay,
yeah.
Yes. Was it better with the voices? Did it help?
Not at all. So I took it just for 2 weeks, just for a couple of weeks, and then I discarded it. Yeah, but I think it is also important to mention because when the time was due to eat up the whole pills, she was asking me to buy another pill, another box of the pill, and take it. Yeah, and take it for several months, but I refused.
Good.
But she was insisting, you have to buy this and take the pill. She insisted. It was sort of felt like threatening me to take the pill.
What was her exact diagnosis?
There was a minor
depression?
Yeah, depression, and it's like I forgot the name, but it's depression and at the same depressed, and then your mood goes high, so it was like a swinging. So I was sort of manic depression, minor manic depression. That was her
diagnosis?
Her diagnosis.
Okay, and you bought that, or did you got the feeling that's rubbish?
Maybe. Well, that time I thought that others are very calm and collected, but I feel very high up in my mood. So maybe she might be right. I thought.
But then you quickly figured out she wasn't, because the voices still were there.
Yes. No. But the reason why I took the pill was just because told me to do, not because I knew this voice is from outside. It's not from me. It's not because I had the problem. I did so just because she told me to. Other than that, there's no reason. I'm perfectly healthy and normal, and I knew it.
Did the voice comment on the fact that you took Risperdal as medicine?
The voice didn't tell me anything about this medicine.
No comments at all?
Nothing at all.
Okay.
There was this professor. This professor is this voice was telling about the relationship with the professor there at the university in the department that I was studying.
Please, once more, which department was that?
That was computer science.
Okay. Very interesting.
I studied in computer science for 3 years, and then I went to another department, which is computer engineering, electronic computer engineering, more specifically. And I studied there for 1 year, so it was totally 4 years for master's study. And I stayed there for that long because I wanted to graduate, but they didn't allow me to graduate.
Why?
Because I had a very bad relationship with this supervisor in my computer science program.
Which was not the professor the voice talked about? Somebody else?
Yes, this professor is in the computer engineering department. And he was a graduate. Do you want me to mention his name as well?
Yes, of course.
I think this person is very much involved in this, because his background is electronic engineering and nanotechnology, and he studied in military school in Canada.
That's a typical combination.
Yes.
For mind control. Yes. What was the name of that guy?
His name is Mike Potter. Mike Potter.
And the voice in your skull told this name as well? Or only that you figured out it must be him? Can you remember? This voice, like I told you, when I shaked my head, there was a voice saying, easy, easy, and I felt it was like his. So when I heard this English voice, I thought that this guy was telling me through some sort of remote. Yeah, but this was more a feeling. The voice did not say, this is this professor. What was his name again? Mike Potter. Mike Potter. The voice in your skull did not mention the name Mike Potter.
I think never at all.
But
I also have. I also went to the sexual harassment. I thought that this is sexual harassment. So I went to the So I went to the this sexual harassment. Like there is some sort of a person who deals with this sexual harassment thing in the university. So I went to her. She was from Ukraine, and I talked with her as well. And she was telling me that this is a typical power struggle between the students and the professor. So I had this kind of a meeting with this person in the sexual harassment office, and then this my counselor, who's from the counseling office, and me. So I had a meeting as well with this person, and then she was And did I mention that my mind is broadcast? My mind and my thoughts are broadcast.
As well, besides of the fact that there are voices.
Exactly.
Also typical.
Yeah.
How did you figure out that that is happening?
That is happening. I figured out that the people near me was communicating with me through their minds. That's how I figured. And also, like this voice was describing whatever I was doing. Like so this voice was from my brain or from outside, but I also could figure like people near me could hear my thoughts and my minds, because whenever I go outside, some people were trying to have a conversation with me through their minds.
Mm-hmm. What kind of conversation, for example? Do you remember something?
Actually, this is happening now as well. So
just now?
Yeah, just now.
What do they say?
I mean, now I'm sort of focusing on the conversation, so I don't try to think. But when I think, then here in Uppsala, I hear people talk to me. Like whenever I go to the classroom, my colleagues try to have a conversation with me through their minds. So, and whenever I walk, then people passing me by, they sort of talk to me through their minds as well.
So now you made a big jump. Perhaps we go back to Canada and then to Uppsala. Can you remember what the first conversations were about in Canada?
So, yeah, there was this easy, and also this voice was telling me like you are like pineapple or something. It was like a very humorous description of my character. Like outside you're blunt and and not kind, but inside you're sweet or something. So it was like, yeah, pineapple. That was the first remark that I could hear through this voice.
It must have been a man, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and what more?
I cannot quite remember what I had.
Nothing very profound.
And yeah, this kind of a conversation about this professor, I think that conversation was also about this professor, because he was good looking and he was a professor, so I sort of had this kind of a feeling to love him or something, because this voice is always playing with minds and emotions. So he was, yeah, so he felt very attracted to me as well. So I think that was a sort of a trap. Mm-hmm. That this, the who does this is trying to tackle me.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And did you proceed to go to the doctor, or did you stop it?
So I saw this psychiatrist, and at the same time, she or this counselor was suggesting me to see other. Or I cannot quite remember, but I wanted to see other doctors as well. So I've been to. Actually, I had a severe headache as well when I got into this. Yeah, so this is not just voice. I had like a burning sensation in my eyes, and I had like a laser beam, burning sensation in my wrist. And
was it visible or only a sensation?
It was just a sensation, fortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, like, I had a pain in my stomach.
Oh.
Yeah, but that was when I went back to Korea. When I was in Canada, it was a burning sensation, and I was so scared, so I tried to call the ambulance, and when I called the ambulance, and I tried to call the ambulance, this guy who picked the phone was telling me that it's very expensive to call an ambulance. It was like $500, so I said, so you have to pay, and the voice, you have to pay that much money, and
was it the voice on the telephone from the 9/11 call, or was it the voice in your skull?
No. When I had this burning sensation on my wrist, I was very scared.
Yeah.
Because it felt like it was gonna kill me.
Of course, yeah.
So I called a real person.
Yeah, the 9/11 emergency.
No. University person. University. University. There was many. They were not cops, but there was some sort of
security
person, security guard. Yes, yeah. Especially in the university, inside the university, and maybe in the city of Calgary as well. And I called, but there was a number that the students can call. So I called this person, and actually this guy, I met him before, so it was all connected. Like this security guys, they are all connected. Like I met him when I had my ankle sprained, when I was walking. That was maybe several months ago or a year ago, but not too far before. So this guy even visited my department, and he even talked with my supervisor as well. And when I actually called, then I noticed this is that guy, this voice is that guy. And then he was sort of threatening me that it takes $500, so you'd better not, or you'd better not call an ambulance or something. Yeah.
So there were no ambulance.
Yeah, it felt like he was threatening me, so I gave up. But I didn't. It stopped, fortunately. So I didn't need to call the ambulance.
Well, what other measures did you take to get rid of the voices and the other influences?
I went to Vancouver. Actually, that was when I was in Calgary. So I went to Vancouver. If this voice is following me even there, so I went to Vancouver. And I didn't have much money, so that was the closest place that I could visit. And then I went to Vancouver, and this voice was still. Actually, there were people following me as well. And then
as real people,
real people
stalking you.
Yes, stalking me.
Also typical, yeah.
Yeah, that happened when I was in Calgary actually, and when I was hearing this voice, I couldn't sleep at all, so and when I went back to, actually very many things were happening when I was in there. I could hear voice from the ceiling, and actually people in the room. I went for a seminar, and there were people more than 20 people in the room for the seminar who attended for the seminar, and they all could hear the voice from the ceiling. And they were even looking up. Yeah, the professor was even looking up. Where is this voice coming from?
The professor said?
Yeah, he even mentioned that.
But that was another professor than the guy we just mentioned.
Yeah. I attended many seminars, and this was another professor. And and I went to a church, and and in the church also I could hear this voice as well, and the pastor was mentioning.
Oh, the priest also mentioned the voice.
Yeah.
Oh, that was interesting. There is some interesting witness.
Yeah. Yeah, and when I was taking a car, then I could hear this voice, but the person that who was with me, he didn't mention anything about that. She was quiet about that, but I could see she could hear that, like me.
Okay. And what happened in Vancouver?
yeah, in Vancouver, it feels like some people from Calgary was following me, but and he was, and I was in the same bus in Vancouver. I was doing some trip by taking buses there, and this guys and his wife, maybe this he was some old guy, and he had his wife and some friends. So they were like yeah, they were wife and husband, maybe looked like, and there were, and also there some friends of them. And this guy was mentioning that they have no conscientious, no morality, and no ethics. I clearly remember he was mentioning that.
Also in the bus, he told you that?
Not to me, but maybe when they were having conversation, and the voice was loud enough for me to hear.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, as if he were saying that. He was intending me to hear what he's talking.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And was it better after the trip to Vancouver?
Not at all. It was all the same.
All the same?
Yeah.
So you got disappointed, and what was your next step?
Next step was I visited this hospital in the university, and then saw this doctor. His name is, I remember this name, the doctor's name.
Yeah, good.
His name is Dr. Yam, and this was a guy. This was a male doctor, and another doctor. Her name is female. I mean, she was female doctor. So this male doctor's name was Dr. Yam. Maybe he's from Vietnam or something. So his name is Yam.
Mm-hmm.
And the other doctor, her name was Dr. Denzinger. I remember.
German, it sounds German.
Maybe. Yeah, so I remember clearly because I visited these doctors quite often.
Mm-hmm.
So this Dr. Yam suggested me to go back to Korea and see your family.
Okay.
I mean, that's better for you. So.
And so you did?
Not only that, but also I had a friend in this computer engineering department, and he was suggesting me to go back to Korea, and if you want to come back, maybe come back after 5 years. So I followed his suggestion as well, and I did. And another, I had a Korean friend there as well, and we were in the same dormitory. And when I had this loud voice from outside, I think almost everyone in the dormitory was experiencing the same. Mm-hmm. So she knew it, but I didn't get the chance to talk openly with her. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so maybe I can ask her again, but... it
would be interesting, yes.
Yeah.
And then you moved back to Korea?
Yes.
So you did not finish the studies as planned, but you interrupted it because of those voices?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I wanted to finish my study and then get my degree there, but because of this voice, I couldn't continue my study.
And you flew down with an airplane to Korea?
Yes.
Were the voices still in the airplane?
Yes, actually. The voice is not necessarily from my brain. I hear the voice from anything that has a sound, like from the tapping water. Even still, like from the tapping water, I can hear the voice from this tapping water. I can feel that the voice is from this tapping water, and wherever there is sound, I can hear the voice. The voice is sort of they don't want me to hear this voice clearly, so wherever there is sound, the voice is sort of mixed with the existing sound, and then I can hear there is this sound.
Did they make some efforts to stop you from going back to Korea?
No, they actually want me to go to Korea because...
Even the voices, or did they make no comment on that?
Actually, well, this voice is very cautious in manipulating me. So, when I realized that they want me to go back to Korea was when I visited the church when I had this I mean, yes, I tried to have an open conversation with my church friend. Actually, I didn't go to church, but this church girl approached to me when I was in Calgary, and then after this happened, and she brought me to churches, and maybe there was 2 churches, and when I went to one of the church, 2 churches, and one of the church at one of the church, the preacher was. The pastor was preaching, and then that was about what was happening to me. Like
he knew about it because you told him before.
Not at all. It's just I think maybe she had a conversation about me with this pastor, and this pastor had her wife had the same symptom like me. Like yeah, it's not necessarily the voice. Her wife had this kind of artificial pain that is not natural. So she had a very severe back pain without any reason, and they somehow knew. They somehow had this knowledge already, and then he had to preach like, what on earth is going on in the world that we live? It felt like he feel very sad about what's happening. Yeah, and he was talking about also IMF and WTO, like that kind of world trade and globalization and that kind of stuff. So this
the International Monetary Fund.
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
It was an open-minded preacher.
Yes.
And what happened when you entered Korean soil?
Yeah. So I thought that this was gone, and I really wished this is the end when I go back to Korea. But it lasted. I mean, I couldn't start immediately.
Yes.
Yeah, so I had
It didn't start immediately?
No. I couldn't start working immediately because, I mean, I had to make a living. So I had to start working.
You started working there?
Yeah, I had to. So otherwise I would have started working immediately, but I couldn't.
Because you had the voices at the plane when you were on your way to Korea, and you had the voices when you came down to Korea.
Exactly.
There was no difference, the same voices.
Exactly, yes.
And it was not another person suddenly speaking, it was the same impression that the same person was speaking to you.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And this bothered you so much that you were not able to take a job?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I was very shocked. I mean, not just because of this voice. I was very shocked and didn't know what to do. So, and I did my research, and then I sort of got the information. This is happening around the world. So,
how did you make the research?
Through the internet, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good tool.
Yeah. And I wanted to know if they have some kind of knowledge about this in Korea as well. So I went to the Korean hospital, and tried to have a conversation with the psychiatrist in Korea in the university hospital. But he absolutely didn't have any knowledge, and he wanted me to be in the hospital and then stay and then take the medication, and then he thought it felt like he thinks I am a very severe mental yeah.
Did he wanted you to take some pills, some medicine?
Well, when I talked to him that I hear this voice, he was telling me that he didn't took it very seriously, because I think it is somehow normal like to hear the voice for people who are stressed out. But when I talked to him that I had this kind of a burning sensation out of no reason, then the moment he told me to stay in the hospital, like for months,
You
and
did?
take the medication. No, he suggested me,
Yes.
and then and definitely I couldn't. So I just told him maybe I'll consider that, and then I went out from the hospital, and never went again.
And you took no medication?
Not at all.
Very
No.
good, yeah, very good. And what happened then?
And then I thought that this is not known to people at all, so this is absolutely new. Nothing is known about this, and I'd better keep quiet about this. So to do the functioning, and at least make my living. I mean, this voice heard. If it is just me, then I can still function. I can pretend that I don't listen. I mean, I don't hear. But yeah, I don't hear. So that time I thought I could start work.
Mm-hmm.
So I started work actually.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is beginning to start when my thought was heard, and my mind was heard by people who I am working with.
Okay, your colleagues from the new work were hurting you.
No, they were never hurting me. I mean, my thought and mind was heard by them. They could hear my voice. I mean, my mind. They could hear my thought.
How do you know that?
Well, I think they actually talk to me. I can hear your thought, but not.
Did you go to them and confronted them and asked, why do you talk to me?
Do I ask them why do you talk to me?
I would have gone to those colleagues and said, why do you talk to me in that way? I would have confronted them with that. Did you do that?
No, I mean, it was just honest response of them, because people, if you hear, if you listen, I mean, if you can hear someone else's thought and someone else's mind, then if you're an honest person, then it's natural that you want to talk to the person, that you are heard.
But it could have been that they tricked you, that they pretended that's the voice from the colleague and it wasn't. Have you ever thought about that? They fooled you.
But it cannot, because each and everyone respond to me like that. You know what I mean? 100%.
But only in your head. It was never that they responded, that you could see it, and then that they said verses from their mouth. It was only in your mind, or?
Not at all.
Okay, how was it?
Because, yeah, I told you, like each and everyone respond to me like that.
Yeah,
And also, right. I was staying with my colleagues. It is not just workplace. My house is far from my workplace, so I stayed with my colleagues when I was working for that company. And I was staying with these girls, and in that apartment, there were 5 or 6 girls. And we stayed there when we were not working. So at work, I could feel they hear me through their response. And when I went to the apartment near work, then I could see that from these girls' responses. I stayed with these girls, 5 girls.
The girls said something to you. You could see that they opened the mouth. You could hear what they say, and this was related to something which happened in your head before, inside your head.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot give you an example. Like there was some fight, not necessarily violent one, but there was some sort of friction between the girls. Like I was staying in the same room. I and another girl was sharing one room, and the apartment had 3 rooms. So like two girls were sharing this another room. There were two girls, and one was staying in the living room. So it was like 5 or 6 person in one apartment, which that apartment was quite large. So so it was large enough to hold 5 or 6 person. But yeah, I was staying in the same room with this girl, and then there was some sort of friction, and then she was trying to take more space than me. So I sort of had a very nasty feeling to her, and then
But you didn't say.
I didn't say anything, but I was thinking, and I sort of made a curse words on her, made a cursing remark on her, and her face got red all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, because you made that cursing thought while she was next to you.
Yes.
But you didn't tell anything. It was
nothing at all. Nothing
and
at all.
she reacted with a red head.
Red face, and at the same time she threw even more cursing words to me. You know,
and did she say it opening her mouth?
Not at all. Through her mind.
But then you can't be sure that it was her. It could be other guys fooling you, tricking you.
Not at all. Her face was totally red, and she was even shivering. Yeah, you could feel the response of a human being.
From her body language?
Yes, body language is very important. Yes, body language.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you after that took up a direct conversation and talked to her about that? How can you read my mind? Did you ask her?
No, I didn't ask her, how can you read my mind? I asked her, can you read my mind? I asked her directly, straightforward.
You did?
Yeah, I did. But not right after that.
Okay.
Maybe after some while.
Yeah.
When we got in better term. And then I asked her, can you hear my thought? And she was like responding me that how can I? how can one person hear your thought?
Yeah, a natural answer.
Yeah. But it's just natural. It totally felt like she was pretending. She was just making that up. She could hear me. She could hear my thought, but she was just answering that way because it's impossible to happen.
She did not acknowledge.
No, she acknowledged it, and everyone in my...
What did she acknowledge?
She can hear my thought.
She said that to you.
No, she didn't. But everyone in my company and everyone in my apartment knows. Everyone in my company, there's a quite big company and they don't know. So they might be talking about me.
How do you know that they know?
So through their body language.
But it was never a direct, open conversation about that with only words from mouth to mouth. Between you and your colleagues? Yes,
it is never direct, but it's actually very difficult to have an open conversation. Can you hear me? And can you hear my thoughts? And can you hear my mind? It's difficult to say, admit that they can hear me because it's dangerous for them. It's, if they can hear my thought, then it means that they are crazy. You know what I mean? Like it's difficult for them to admit that they can hear my thought. Yeah, so it's just easy to deny that they can hear me.
But they never said that with their mouths, it's only that you thought that in your mind. Because it would be interesting to have a physical evidence that another testimony comes and says, yes, I could read her mind as well. If you only suppose that it was so, okay, it could have been, but they could have fooled you. And therefore I'm asking about that. It would have been valuable that they really tell you with usual words what they...
Actually, there were some friends, there were some friends who admitted that, admitted that they can hear my thoughts. Actually, there were...
Would those friends have the courage to say that on camera as well?
So that's the problem. I don't think they would have that kind of courage.
Yeah, because that would be valuable. Then you could write a letter to them or phone them and say, could you please take a video camera? Everybody has a video camera nowadays. It's on the cell phone and everywhere. And make a little statement and put it on the net and send it to me. Because this would be very interesting to have this feedback from other persons.
Yes.
Try, ask them, beg them for that favor.
Yeah, maybe
If they say no, okay, but perhaps you are lucky, and they say one of them says yes.
Yeah.
It would be very interesting to get that feedback.
Yeah.
And did you talk to your parents or your family about that?
Did I talk to my family?
Yeah, about your problem.
Yeah, I talked about this to my mother. And
what was her reaction?
And well, she I think she doesn't take this too seriously because but still she doesn't think that I'm crazy or anything.
Okay,
but
yeah.
she at the same time she doesn't think this. I think she sort of understands what's going on, like because she's old and she's kind of wise. So she have her life experience. So why this is happening and this kind of nature, she sort of understands the nature of this kind of dynamic between people. So she told me that you're the big pioneer victim for this kind of thing. Yeah.
Have you heard about other victims in Korea?
Yes, I have maybe more than 100 victims. There was a group.
Only in Korea?
Yeah, only in Korea. Yeah, who reported?
Horrible.
Yeah.
And also in Canada, I think.
Yeah.
Canada is a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happened then? You proceeded your job, or what happened?
So it was very difficult for me to proceed my job, so I couldn't proceed, and my relationship with my bosses was not good as well. Maybe because of this, they were sort of kind and considering in that they, even if they could hear my thoughts, they were still very much considering. But I couldn't handle this, and then I couldn't continue. So I quit this job, and then.
It's also typical, they destroy people's job and the money. Most of the victims don't have any money, even if they had before.
Exactly.
And what happened then?
So I figured if I am heard, then it's better for me to take the speaking job. I mean, the job that I can speak. For example, the job that I can speak. So, because I was a programmer, I told you that I have a computer science background. So I was a programmer, and in that job, I didn't speak anything at all. And I just needed to see the monitor and do the programming. Well, I had a meeting from time to time, but still, after the meeting, I had to work with the computer and keep my mouth shut. So it's very difficult not to think when you keep your mouth shut. So it's inevitable that I think.
Yes.
For any reason. So that way people can hear my thoughts. So it's better for me. I figured it's better for me to have a speaking job.
Yes, I think so too, because then you're giving other frequencies into the pattern, and that could give a relief.
Yeah.
And what happened? You got a job on that day?
So, but that is when I tried another job. That is when right after I quit the previous job, I got another job, but that was in the same field, as a programmer.
Not a speaking.
Yes.
Okay, because and nothing changed.
Yeah, and then I continued the second job just for 1 month because I couldn't have the good relationship with the new people in the new place at all because of this problem. Yeah, mainly because of this problem, but at the same time, yeah, but mainly because of this problem. And then I thought, I pondered upon what I can do. So maybe that's when I figured that I better get this speaking job. And then I tried to find a speaking job. Yeah.
And you found?
I mean, getting a job is not too difficult. The problem is continuation of the job.
Yeah, but you got a new job with a speaking function.
Yes.
And did your situation improve?
But still, I couldn't. The job was not that much I like. So not because of this problem, maybe I didn't like that job as well, so I couldn't continue that job.
But you still had the problem with the voices and the thought reading?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
It continued.
Yeah.
Never stopped. Like 24 hours a day and 365 days a year.
And what happened then?
And then I sort of had some pondering what I can do, and then did some research why these things happening. Did more research, and then I figured that this is I mean, this is what I found out in doing this during the whole thing. But I thought, I was thinking about teaching, and then teaching job. So and then Sweden was some sort of an option. In Korea, Sweden was sort of known for the social system and then education system. So I got the interest about Sweden, and then figured it can be a good solution for my situation to study there. And then I thought this sustainable development is a good thing that I can study. So I decided to study this, and then I was luckily accepted. So that's how I came to Sweden.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you took the plane from Korea to Sweden, the airplane?
Yes.
And you had the voices when you were flying?
Of course. And I didn't think that I would have the same. I didn't think anything like this would happen in Sweden. I was worried a bit, but it takes time that people know what's happening to me typically in one organization. But here, I think some people knew from the beginning that I had this mind broadcasting problem. From the beginning, when I first came to Sweden.
Yeah, how could you know that? What was the indices for that? Could you explain this a little bit better?
I wished this wouldn't be known to other people, because it'll make everything very difficult for me to continue everything.
But you got a place at the University in Uppsala for a new study, and you took a plane, you came over to Sweden, to Arlanda, and you detected the voices are still there.
Yes, of course. The voice is always with me.
And it was the same voice, not suddenly a Swedish voice.
No, nothing at all. But I don't really. I don't listen very carefully what this voice is telling me.
No, but you would have detected if it's another pattern in the voice, if it's another person or something. It was the same quality of the voice.
Yes, same whispering voice. Maybe that of a guy. guy's voice, not woman, never woman.
The same guy wherever you come, from Canada to Korea to Sweden.
Maybe same computer voice as well.
You don't know that, yeah. But in principle you didn't say, oh, now it's a new voice.
Never. It's hard to detect, like if it is a new voice or not.
And nobody tried to bother you, made an obstacle that you switched the country from Korea to Sweden. There were no voice telling you, oh, you must stay in Korea.
Nothing direct like that, never at all. This voice is always telling me, yeah, but still, I mean, not now, but like when I interact with people, like this voice from tap water or on the air, they describe the situation. Like, yeah, for example, I have this problem with the guy who's staying next to my corridor room, and there is this sort of a harassing voice, like 24 hours a day I can hear. And yeah, it's like always tricking me into love this guy who is staying next to my door. So.
But he's not interesting.
I think this is this voice is from this guy, or this voice. It's very confusing if this voice is really from this guy, or if this voice is from this from the air.
Controlling you.
Yeah, yeah.
But you said initially, when you came to Sweden, you had the impression that people in Sweden already knew about your situation.
I mean, people who are related with the university. I mean, yeah. I mean, I sent the documents from Calgary, University of Calgary, and I think the professors, almost all professors in the department, like computer science and computer engineering, are involved somehow.
In Sweden?
I mean, no, in University of Calgary.
Okay.
And I sent the documents to University of Uppsala, for the acceptance. And maybe they might have referred to me. I mean, I don't know how they know that I am the target.
But how did you get the information that they know that you are the target?
That is through their body language, but
again, only the body language. Not that they really took it up with you in a usual conversation.
Never at all.
Okay, it's only you thinking that it is like that.
But not necessarily never, because somehow I can see they sort of understand my situation, but they pretend not to know my situation. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's not the thing that can be spoken, that can be talked outspokenly.
Because I think there is a risk that those who are making your mind control are implanting those thoughts that you get the impression the others know about you and correspond with you, and in reality they don't. And perhaps they can trigger that they get red faces or a certain kind of body language, but it must not be necessarily so as you think. Therefore, it would be good if you are now in Uppsala that you confront those peoples where you have the impression that they know about your situation, that you really make a dialogue with them. Perhaps have a little mimic here and playing in what you are saying just to test.
Yeah, I try. I try, and
valuable.
sometimes some people answer. Yeah, but just one people answered. But
What was the answer?
Yeah, one person answered that. Yeah, I sort of quickly strategized to bring that answer from her, that she hear my thoughts. I was having a conversation with her about how hard it is to live in Uppsala in Sweden, like, and she was asking me, is that because of your study? And I answered, well, study is not difficult, but the problem is I have this difficulty in staying. And she was asking me, why is that? Why is it? Why is that? And I was answering like, you know, I have this kind of problem that my thoughts are heard. And she was answering like, yeah, she was answering like, yes, I know, something like that. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Could you get her on camera or on the tape recording, confirming that again?
No, I don't think so. I'm not that close with her, and she wouldn't risk.
In Sweden, it is allowed to make a voice recording without telling people. So you should try next time without telling that you are recording the voice, and that you collect evidence. Because this was an interesting answer that she confirmed that.
Yeah, she was the only honest person. Otherwise, I tried to have a conversation about this mind broadcasting, and then they all suggested me to go to the hospital or go get some counseling. So it's like 99% who I tried to have a conversation suggest me to go to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
But it was only 1%. Well, so far I had 2% outside my family who answered honestly.
Mm-hmm. And what measures did you took in Uppsala to protect you, to get rid of the voices?
To protect
yourself, to get rid of the problem. What steps did you took in Uppsala?
I think I didn't do a lot. I mean, I sort of accepted because there's no other way that I can do about this. Mm-hmm. No way I can, no way I can do about this.
But you connected to Magnus at least.
Yeah. So that's when I had a conversation with my mother, and then she was suggesting me to try to do something in Sweden, and I came up with the thought that there might be victims here in Sweden as well. So that's how I contact. Also, I read a novel of Stieg Larsson, the Millennium Trilogy, and in that book there was and also I was scrapping the articles that is related to this.
Yeah, but please go back to Stieg Larsson. What did you detect in the book?
Yeah, Stieg Larsson was running a magazine called Expo, and in that book he was mentioning that there was a phone call of a guy who was telling them, I can hear some voice.
So somebody phoned to Expo?
Yes.
And said, I'm hearing voices in my skull?
Yes.
And this was written in the Millennium Trilogy?
Yes, the first book.
The first book?
Yes.
Okay, could you please find out where it is? That mustn't read the book, I only have seen the film. That would be very interesting to quote.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it felt like, Stieg Larsson was considering that as a crazy person's gibberish. Yeah, I could see that by his writing.
But anyhow, he took up the theme. That's very interesting.
Yes.
He was a very intelligent man.
Yes.
Very interesting. And so you did not fight so much here in Sweden against the voices. You more found yourself into the situation. Do you get pain from the mind control? When
I was in Korea, actually when I was in Canada, like it's not just a pain, it's like playing with these feelings, sensations.
Yeah. Is this still in Sweden? The burning sensation?
Not burning, but just a light tangling feeling or something, like not too severe or painful, not at all, nothing at all. In Sweden, I am heard and I am even seen Actually, I am seen by other people. I don't know how they see me, but the people from far can see me.
How do you know that?
Because people pass by, respond to me. Like, well, I have this kind of a difficult situation with the guy who's staying next to my corridor room, and the people were like responding to me, like you about my behavior or my action or my response.
And they say it orally, not only in your thoughts?
Of course, they are smart enough to know that they cannot say that orally. Yeah, actually, corridor mates, they
say it orally to you. They confront you orally, or
not orally, but I can read their body language, and at the same time, they talk to me through their minds, through their thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Would be good that you confront them orally, because it could be that this is only made up, that you only think it is like that, and you shall think that, but in reality it's not. In reality, it's those guys making the mind control onto you. Because a classical situation in mind control is the false flags. As usual, those criminal structures making mind control are always working with false flags. That means they blame others, that you get the impression the neighbors are it, the colleagues are it, and in reality they aren't. So it would be interesting that you confront your neighbors in Uppsala with that you go to them orally, try to record everything, and ask them, I have the impression that you read my thoughts or something like that.
Yeah, actually, I had this guy who visited me from Calgary, University of Calgary. I studied with him like for several months, and then he visited me from Calgary, and then he was and I talked with him everything what is happening to me, because he was there and he knows. He even told me that he read the article that there is a new technology to catch the terrorist, new technology to read the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not very much effective, because even if they can read, they cannot get any information from the terrorist. So it was in vain, sort of like that. That kind of conversation we had. He told me about that. I didn't know if there was that kind of technology or something. Mm-hmm. But the people in the university could hear my thoughts that time as well. So they were all listening. I was staying in the 4th floor, and he was studying in the 3rd floor or something. And his colleagues in his lab were all listening to me when I was studying in my lab. So he was telling me like a guy when a guy was doing that. I mean, when a guy is like a molesting, when a guy is doing that for like at night without even sleeping, then it means that he is irrational, and then irrational thing is done to you, and then that kind of. I mean, I can't. Yeah, all of a sudden I have to recall it, so it's difficult. But
is this guy from Calgary still in Uppsala now?
No, he went back to Calgary.
Could you try to make a telephone call to him and get confirmed something?
I'm totally sure he wouldn't admit.
Okay. Mm.
Yeah, that was just when I was with him, only with him.
Could you give us one good and clear example how you figured out that they read your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a clear example. The guy from Calgary, he admitted.
He said to you...
Yeah, he was in the computer engineering department, and he is very much aware of this kind of things happening.
And he said, I was able to read your thoughts.
no, I told him people can hear my thought, people can hear my mind, and I am even seen to them. And he was and he was just nodding. Yeah, yeah, he was just nodding.
But because some people say they know what I will do in the future because I just took the decision and then they made a comment on that and then I made it. And that is a very clear way that you understand yourself, oh shit, they are reading my thoughts. Had you something, did you have an experience similar to that?
You mean I had any experience of reading others' mind?
No, that you acknowledge somebody else is reading your mind in your skull and giving an intelligent comment on it.
Yeah, all the time.
Could you give one example?
Yeah, I was in like a field trip. I was even in the class. I was thinking something sexual about this professor, or I was just saying, or I was thinking just plain thing. Well, that could be sexual or not. Maybe I could have thought something sexual outside, and then I went into the classroom, and this professor, he was responding me. I mean, I was thinking something plain, and he was thinking me back through his mind. He was saying something sexual, very sexual that made me.
Then that corresponded directly to the thought you had in the beginning. You could see clearly there was a direct connection.
Yes, yes. Yeah, this. Yeah. Well, the direct connection is more important after I see his response. After he said that kind of a sexual remark on his thought to me, maybe he felt it's difficult to stay in his seat. He was sitting in here, and I was sitting in here, and there were students who were presenting their project, and then he was sending something like something sexual. I mean, he was not necessarily meaning to harass me, nothing at all, but he was just. I felt like he was telling me something. It is somehow natural to come up with that kind of a sexual thought, because humans are sexual beings and they can think something sexual, of course. Yeah, so it was not necessarily he was meaning to molest or harass me, nothing at all. But after he said that, maybe he wanted me to realize that it can happen, like for a professor or a student can get into that kind of a romantic relationship or something. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, but whatever the reason is, anyhow, he sort of mentioned. He just felt like it. Whatever the reason is, he mentioned that, and I was, but I was still. I was still focusing on the project that the students are presenting. And after he said that, maybe I sort of glanced him or something.
But when he mentioned it, when he said it, did everybody hear it, or was it only in your thought?
Everybody, of course, everybody hears. Yeah, that's also important.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody also hears. So it's just it's not just the conversation between him and me. It's always everyone.
So he orally spoke out
exactly
in front of the audience as a correspondence to your thoughts.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all the time. It's not just between that person and me. Whenever there are people, they all can hear that as well. Hear that kind of mental conversation as well.
And now, while we are sitting here, do you hear voices now?
Not at all. No.
Just now, not?
No. Just now, no. And I try not to think anything other than...
Isn't that unusual because you said it's 24/7?
That is because I try not to think. If I try to think of something...
Now try to think now. Make a little break. Can you get them in? Can you tune into them?
I mean, I tried this kind of experiment with my friend. And it was sort of hard to force this. It was,
well, I think usually you mustn't force it. They are there or they are not there, and you hear it very clearly. Just now you don't hear the voices or that voice.
I mean, it depends. It depends on the situation and
just now, in this second, do you hear something or not?
Not at all. No.
No. Interesting. When you were on the train from Uppsala to Stockholm, did you hear something?
Yeah, I hear the voice from the lady who was sitting next to me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, inside your skull.
Not at all. Nothing at all.
Okay.
After no, nothing at all.
So that means it's not always 24/7. It's some situations you don't hear the voices.
In some situation, I don't hear the voice, but that is because I try not to think. Because otherwise, I think of something and then I get the response by the thoughts from the opposite, from the person that I have a conversation, and that will get me into trouble because I'm so.
But just now they are not bothering you.
You mean you are not bothering me?
No.
Your thoughts?
No, the guys making the mind control on you, they are just now not bothering you.
This voice is not usually there when there are people. Yeah, this voice is usually present when I'm alone.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's very common between TIs.
Okay. Yeah, well, would you finally say something to the audience? What is important for you that must be said?
Yeah, I think this is happening, and we should be aware of this happening because you can be the target as well. You are not safe. So please be empathetic. This is not just for certain people. You can get into this kind of situation randomly if you don't have, if you're unlucky. So please be aware. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your courage to talk about that. It's not easy, I know that. And as usual, I also would like to put the question to the audience. Are you sure that you are not mind controlled? Thank you.